What's going on, guys? Welcome back to an episode of Fishing with Flair. Today I have, this is going to be the February Lunker box unboxing. It is a little bit late, but it just got to my house just a couple days ago. So we'll get it opened up. Alright. So this one does not come with a card with the prices, so I'm not going to be able to tell you the prices on everything. But I'll start off with this. This is the Gambler Mino. This is the Shad Spin. I'll take it out of the package since it's kind of hard for you guys to see it. It's basically kind of an underspin swim bait head with a small spinnerbait blade on it. It's been kind of the craze lately. I feel like this year that this is going to be kind of a hot lure that everyone's kind of talking about. One of those, I wouldn't say fads, but kind of one of those deals, kind of like the Wobble Head right now. That, you know, the hook with it's basically a free swinging football head on there is kind of like the big craze right now, even though they've been around for years. This one, because they had a big factor in the Bassmaster Classic this year, and this one's made by Gamblers. This one's pretty cool because it has an extra little swim bait head. Usually they just kind of, a wire usually comes down and has a blade. This one actually has another swim bait head just to make it a little bit more realistic. You can stick a swim bait on the back of that, and it has a pretty sharp hook on there as well. Speaking of wobble heads, is what I call them. There is. This one is by Angler's Gold, it looks like. This one is in 3/8 of an ounce. And basically what they did to this guy is they took your standard football head, wobble head, and stuck a chatterbait blade on it and a swivel. There's a lot of components on this one. See if I can get it straightened out. There we go. So you can see there, it's your standard wobble head, just as you see there, and then they stuck a chatterbait blade on it with a snap and a swivel on there. It's kind of hard for you guys to see that. There you go. So I can imagine this thing is just going to have a ridiculous amount of action because, one, there's the swivel to the snap, that creates action. Then there's the snap to the blade, which creates action. Then there's the blade to the head, which creates action, and then the head to the free swinging hook. So this thing, I'm just imagining this thing's got to be all over, extremely, extremely erratic. I don't know what else you could do to this thing to make it not swim in a straight line other than what they've done at this one. So I'm really curious to see how this guy works, what kind of action I get out of him. It's a pretty unique and innovative bait there. Next we have a Quick Baits Rattle Worm. And it looks like these are some soft plastic worms with some built-in rattles in the tail, which is pretty cool. It's a small little purple finesse worm, and here has a rattle. You can hear it. So when you're fishing it, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but it'll have a lot more added sound, kind of like you put rattles on a jig. You can do this as a worm, and just a small little finesse worm that would work well on a shaky head or a Texas rig or anything like that. That's pretty cool that they stuck the rattles in there. So I know some of them have spots for rattles, but I don't know if I've ever seen a company that actually has them come with rattles. That's pretty sweet. Next, a floating poison dart frog made by Mud Butt Baits. That's the back of the picture of it. It's a floating frog is what they call it. And this thing, it looks way different than I guess you're supposed to just kind of run it like this. It looks kind of goofy. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to run, but it kind of looks like it'd run like this, and you'd be able to hop it, and it'll display some water. Those look like little, almost like poppers, and you basically rig it Texas rig, and then they have the curly tails for the legs. There's a little split right there for the hook. Interesting. I'd be interested to see how this guy works. It just kind of looks a little bit different, definitely unique, but you never know with something like this. It's definitely something the bass probably haven't seen that day, and you know, sometimes might help you catch a few more fish. So that'll be a cool one to test out for sure. Next we have a Johnson Beetle Spin. And this was one of the classic old baits I used to throw as a kid for crappie and bluegill. Been around for years and years and years and years. Basically it is a small jig with a split tail grub on the back, and it's basically a small spinnerbait, basically with the grub instead of a skirt. and I've used it a lot. It works really, really well for crappie. Sometimes bluegill if you have some bigger bluegill, and sometimes even bass or northern pike. I know with throwing that, you're probably going to get bit off with the northern pike, so you'd have to have some type of leader. But sometimes that small finesse presentation, sometimes like right now, right when the ice is melting, something like that, just when they're just starting to get on their pre-spawn feeding and stuff like that, when they're not looking for a huge meal and exert a bunch of energy, something real finesse like that is always kind of a good idea to do that. Lastly, we have a Fisherman's Thumb. And this is cool because this is a problem we all have. I'm sure if you guys bass fish, you've all had this where after a day of catching 50 to 100 bass, your thumb is all torn up. It looks like someone took a cheese grater to it and just destroyed your thumb. And they basically made this little, feels kind of like neoprene-ish thing, and basically you stick your thumb in there. You can see like this, like that, and so you can lip the bass. It floats, so if you drop it in the water, and it'll basically keep you from tearing up your thumb. I know a lot of people, like especially myself, after I go fish a day where you catch 100 bass, the next morning when you get up and to lip that first bass, I mean it really kills. And something like this, maybe you wouldn't use this on the first day, but maybe once your thumb is torn up, you would take this with you and put it on for the day 2 or something like that. Just so you don't feel the pain, because I know sometimes, I'm sure a lot of you guys know, it is definitely painful when your thumb's all chewed up and stuff. But that's pretty cool, and it floats, so you wouldn't have to worry about dropping in the water or anything like that. Little Lunker box sticker here. Comes in every box. And then a Fisherman Thumb. You can buy one, get one free at fishermanthumb.com. Quick baits card. And this one is 20% off Hoffman's Lures. Hopefully that glare is not too bad for you guys. Sorry, there's a lot of light coming through the window. So that's basically it. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of innovative stuff, like stuff I've never seen on the market, like something to cover your thumb, worms with rattles, underspins with 2 jig heads built in, a frog that is definitely unique, something I've never even seen or anything come close to that. Definitely interested in trying that. So that's kind of the purpose of me getting these monthly boxes, is to get stuff that I wouldn't normally buy. I probably wouldn't buy any of this on a regular basis. Not to say I wouldn't use any of it. Just saying, if I went to Shields and were to pick out some lures, none of this would probably be in my cart, which is kind of what I want from these boxes. I don't want the stuff that I throw all the time. I can go buy a pack of, or a frog, or I can go buy a pack of worms, like straight tail worms for shaky head fishing. I want some kind of new and innovative stuff that I wouldn't necessarily want to spend the full retail price for, and get to kind of test it out this way. So that's pretty cool. So that's it for today's episode, and thanks for watching.